Welcome to the Explainer. Whenever we talk about autonomous vehicles, it is incredibly easy to get distracted by the futuristic designs and those shiny new vans. But today, we're moving entirely past the AI hype. We're going to look at the gritty, real-world business mechanics of the robotaxi industry. Because, as we're about to see, having the coolest car on the block doesn't automatically mean you have a viable business model.
$6 billion. That is the estimated amount Waymo is losing right now. If you actually break that down, they are burning about $100 on every single ride. It is a staggering figure, and it proves a fundamental truth of this industry. Having the absolute best technology doesn't automatically equal a winning business. You have to nail the unit economics, the manufacturing scale, and the liability structures.
Which really brings us to the core question we need to answer today. Who is actually winning the robotaxi race? To figure that out, this explainer is going to break down the latest massive strategic moves from the three biggest players in the space: Tesla, Waymo, and BYD. We're going behind the curtain to see how they are actually setting up their operations to scale. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap. We'll start with Tesla's infrastructure play, move to Waymo's unit economics, explore BYD's liability play, and finish up with the infinite money glitch.
All right, Section 1. Tesla's infrastructure play. Scaling the real-world footprint.
Look, you simply cannot launch a global robotaxi fleet without massive, dedicated physical spaces to manage it all. Previously, observers discovered these 36,000 square foot Tesla facilities that seemed perfectly designed just for cleaning and charging robotaxis. But recently, city documents revealed a brand new 51,000 square foot hub in Grand Prairie, Texas, right between Dallas and Fort Worth. And this jump in size, it isn't just about extra parking, it's telegraphing a completely integrated approach to fleet management. And this brilliantly illustrates their strategy. Under one single roof, Tesla is combining everyday consumer service and delivery alongside the charging, cleaning, repair, and maintenance of their autonomous vehicles. By putting everything together like this, they achieve phenomenal utilization of both their labor and their assets. A technician can seamlessly bounce between servicing a customer's Model Y and prepping a cybercab. Talk about efficiency. Jeff Luce, who's a C-level supply chain executive with experience at Motorola, Google, and Lenovo, really hit the nail on the head here. He points out, you don't make that commitment to go into production if you don't think it's going to pass your reliability standards. Tesla is laying down heavy physical capital right now. They absolutely wouldn't be securing raw materials and dedicating production time if the Cybercab hardware wasn't fully baked and ready to scale. Moving right along to Section 2, Waymo's unit economics, the true cost of custom vehicles.
Now, what's really interesting here is how Waymo is approaching things. While Tesla relies on their massive existing manufacturing scale, Waymo is trying to fix those devastating financial losses we saw earlier by entirely changing their hardware. They're transitioning away from their old Jaguar I-Pace fleet to a new, custom-built Zeekr van called the Ojai. It's imported from China and retrofitted with their 6th-generation hardware in Arizona. To slash costs, they cut the sensor count by 42%. Cameras are down from 29 to 13, and LiDARs from 5 to 4. And the result? The estimated cost per vehicle plummeted from an eye-watering $200,000 down to roughly $75,000 to $100,000.
But here comes the supply chain reality check. Waymo's betting heavily on these custom low-volume vans. Jeff Luce warns us that if Waymo or the manufacturer, Zeekr, doesn't hit their minimum volume commitments, all this projected savings could completely evaporate. The manufacturer will just turn around and ask Waymo to write a separate, massive check to cover the capital expenditures for the factory tooling. Custom vehicles are just incredibly risky if you aren't producing them by the hundreds of thousands.
Okay, Section 3, BYD's liability play, buying back public trust. Let's shift gears and look at the Asian market, where BYD was essentially backed into a corner by a cascade of real-world events. Following a highly publicized fatal crash involving a competitor's vehicle using assisted driving, regulators cracked down hard. They restricted terms like autonomous and heavily scrutinized exaggerated marketing claims. Simultaneously, BYD saw a sharp 36% drop in sales for their God's Eye Level 2 system after multiple user complaints about unintended acceleration and erratic steering. This whole situation forced BYD to make a highly calculated move.
So, the crucial point here is their unprecedented response to all of this. BYD just announced they will offer 100% free damage coverage for 1 full year to owners using their system correctly. We're talking vehicle repairs, third-party property damage, and personal injury liabilities with absolutely zero payout cap. Why on earth would an automaker take on this massive financial risk for a Level 2 system? Well, they probably have a surplus of excess parts inventory, sure. But more importantly, they desperately need people to keep driving. They need to gather miles to catch up to competitors' data pools, and they are literally willing to buy back public trust to get it.
Finally, Section 4, the infinite money glitch, the ultimate autonomous prize.
Let's tie all these threads together, because this is the holy grail that every single company in this space is quietly chasing. The infinite money glitch occurs when a company engineers an autonomous system so incredibly safe that they can confidently collect insurance premiums from users. But, and here's the kicker, because the software is essentially never at fault in a collision, they rarely, if ever, have to actually pay out a claim.
Just walk through the business logic with me for a second. Step 1. You achieve hardware scale and gather billions of miles of perfect safety data, which is something Tesla is actively doing right now. Step 2. You finally prove the system is safer than a human and you remove the driver entirely for unsupervised driving. Step 3. You offer a native in-house insurance policy to cover those rights. And Step 4. Because you already know exactly what the safety data looks like, you just sit back and collect the premiums with near zero claim payouts. It literally transforms a car company into the most profitable underwriter on Earth.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative question to think about. When the software finally achieves perfection, who will underwrite the future? Will it be traditional insurance companies, or is it going to be the automakers who actually own the data? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope this really helped clarify the massive financial gears turning behind the scenes of the robotaxi industry. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll see you next time.